Vaping. On the surface, it seems like the perfect solution, doesn't it? You get all the buzz of nicotine, but without all the terrible stuff that comes with traditional cigarettes. But the big question is it just too good to be true? Well, let's find out. Look, let's just be honest for a second. Nicotine works. It's a really potent drug that can sharpen your focus, it can calm your nerves, and it can even suppress your appetite. It delivers that little kick that so many people are looking for. So the promise of getting that kick without the clear and present dangers of smoking, that is a really, really powerful idea. So in this explainer, we're going to go on a bit of a journey. First, we'll look at why vaping is so popular. Then, we'll peek under the hood of the device itself. After that, we are opening the chemical mystery box of what you're really breathing in. Then, we'll see how it affects your body, how it supercharges nicotine addiction, and finally, what this all means for an entire generation. Okay, let's dive right into our first section, the allure of vaping. I mean, what is it that makes this technology so incredibly popular with so many people? You know, nicotine didn't become one of the world's most popular drugs by accident. For a lot of people, it's a powerful tool. It genuinely can sharpen your focus for a big project, it can ease anxiety, and it provides that little mood lift that gets you through the day. These aren't just imaginary feelings. They're tangible effects that draw people in. And let's get one thing crystal clear, because the science on this is settled. Vaping is way, way less harmful than smoking. It's not even a close call. Cigarettes basically unleash this fiery barrage of hot, toxic smoke that just wreaks immediate havoc on your body. Vaping completely sidesteps that specific, deadly part of the equation. So how does this little device actually perform its magic? Let's move on to section 2 and take a look inside a vape. You know, the process is actually brilliantly simple. You've got a little tank that holds the e-liquid, a battery powers up a metal coil, it gets hot, and that heat turns the liquid into a mist that you inhale. It's a super basic, super effective delivery system. But the magic, and frankly the trouble, starts with what that mist really is. And here's where things get really tricky, and where the name itself is kind of misleading. We call it vaping, but what you're inhaling is not water vapor. It's an aerosol. And what's an aerosol? It's a sticky, warm mist filled with chemicals. One of the best analogies I've heard from scientists, it's basically like spraying warm deodorant straight into your lungs. This brings us right to the heart of the problem here in section 3, the chemical mystery box. If it's not just water vapor, then what on earth are you actually breathing into your body? This is the single most important question for anyone who vapes, or is even thinking about it. What is in that pleasant candy-flavored cloud that you're inhaling? And the scary answer is, we don't really know for sure. The vaping industry is kind of like the Wild West when it comes to regulation. Study after study has shown that most of the chemicals that are actually in the vape juice aren't even listed on the label. And this is an absolutely critical point. A lot of these flavorings are perfectly safe to eat, but that says nothing about whether they're safe to inhale. Just think about it. Cinnamaldehyde, that's what gives cinnamon its flavor. It's delicious in a pastry, but when you heat it up and breathe it in, it can actually be toxic to the cells in your lungs. And that sweet cherry flavor, that comes from benzaldehyde, which is a known irritant to your entire respiratory tract. Oh, and it gets worse. Remember that metal coil that does all the heating? Well, it turns out that coil can break down over time, releasing microscopic particles of metal directly into the aerosol you're breathing in. We're talking lead, nickel, chromium, a whole list of toxic heavy metals that are just terrible news for your body. So what does this mystery box full of unknown chemicals and heavy metals actually do to you? Well, welcome to section 4, your body on vapes, and what we have to call the great unknown. This quote, honestly, it says everything. Vaping is so new that we have almost zero long-term data on what it does to the human body over decades. And what that means is, if you vape, you are an active participant, a test subject, in one of the biggest medical experiments in human history. Now, what we do know are the short-term effects that tons of vapors report. Things like coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, chest pain. This is your body's natural defense system basically screaming at you that it's trying to fight off a bunch of foreign chemicals. And it's not just your lungs. Vaping also puts immediate stress on your heart, raising your blood pressure and heart rate. Okay, let's move on to the drug itself. Section 5 explains how vaping has created what you could call nicotine supercharged, making one of the world's most addictive substances even more powerful. I mean, let's be honest, smoking is a hassle. It's harsh on your throat, it stinks, you can't do it indoors. Vaping, on the other hand, is a total breeze. It's smooth, it tastes like candy, and you can do it almost anywhere, anytime. And all of that makes it dangerously easy to just constantly flood your system with massive doses of nicotine. And this is especially alarming for teenagers because their brains are literally still under construction. Drenching a developing brain in high doses of nicotine can seriously disrupt the formation of critical neural connections. We're talking about long-term, maybe even permanent, problems with focus, with self-control, and with emotional stability. Now, for the good news, quitting is absolutely possible. The physical withdrawal part is tough, yeah, but it's mostly over in a few weeks. The real battle, the long-term fight, is mental. It's about breaking all those little habits and triggers that have woven themselves into the fabric of your daily life. All right, all of this brings us to our final section, a generation on trial. And this is where we have to confront the very, very complicated truth about what vaping really means for public health. The numbers here are they're shocking. We are witnessing an entire generation get hooked on nicotine. In the UK, 1 in 5 kids has tried vaping. In the US, about 1 in 4 high schoolers who vape are doing it every single day. This isn't a trend, it's a public health crisis in the making. And this, right here, this is the paradox at the very heart of the vaping debate. On one hand, for every single adult smoker who switches to vaping, it is a massive win for their health and for public health. But on the other hand, for every young person who never smoked but starts vaping, it's a potential disaster, the beginning of a lifelong addiction with consequences we're only just beginning to understand. So, we're left with this final, lingering question. Vaping is designed from the ground up to be appealing. It's smooth, it's tasty, it's convenient, it's discreet. But when a trop is designed that well, when it's that good, how do you even see the bars?